What action does the Janata Dal United and Nitish Kumar intend to take against these three MPs who've been stung on camera? And as I was viewing those tapes, it's actually the Janata Dal United leaders who've incriminated themselves the most in front of the camera. Please tell me that Nitish Kumar will act against them, or is this the way the Janata Dal United functions, Ajay?
Rahul, let me tell you, I'm not going to start here that this is a political conspiracy or things like that. Number one, we are a party which stands on our principles and our ethos and our morals. And what we are seeing in front of the camera is something which we are not able to digest, that yes, this has happened. But let me assure you that if this has happened, it has come into the notice of our leaders. Our national president has taken a cognizance of it, even as the chief minister and the state president. And don't you be surprised, in very short time we'll take some very decision, and the decision will of course be according to our party lines. We have a zero tolerance towards corruption, and that's what we have been practicing. We are not the one who are going to differ in what we practice and what we preach.
No, so what is it that you practice? We've seen exposed on camera. You're preaching from the pulpit still. Can you explain what action you believe
what you're trying to tell me, what you have exposed in the camera, what you exposed in the camera is one of the three MPs of our party. That doesn't mean the whole party becomes like that. You cannot guarantee on the individual.
No, I'm asking you a simple question, Ajay Alok. What action will be taken against Vishwa Mohan Kumar, Maheshwar Hazari and Bhude Chaudhary? They're all from the Janata Dal United. What action will you take against them, Ajay?
If it is going to be confirmed by tomorrow, we are going to institute an inquiry within our own inquiry that whether it is there or not, and then accordingly suitable action will be taken. You wait and see. The results are going to come. It's not going to be in hiding. And there is a difference. There is a difference. You were talking about Duryodhan. Now you are talking about this card. Now there is the difference, you know. There's something called investigative journalism, and there's something called instigating journalism. What is happening today in the country is much more of an instigative journalism, which is not good also.
I don't buy that argument. Even if the MPs are being instigated, their moral moods must not allow them to act in this nefarious fashion. I want to put GVL Narasimha Rao this question. Lalu Bhai Patel, Ravinder Kumar Pandey, Hari Maji, all from the BJP. Narendra Modi preaching to the Congress always on how they are a corrupt party. Three MPs from your party, GVL. Do you intend to take any action against them at all? Because we haven't heard any real reaction from the BJP on this expose so far.
Okay, let me, before I answer that question, I want to quickly make a couple of points. I think whether the company is a bona fide company or this is a bogus entity, to my mind, honestly, this is a non-issue. I think, I don't think MPs should be really getting involved in sanctioning of tenders and bids for various firms. So the fact that if this is a bogus company, it doesn't really make any difference. That's point number one. Point number two, I think increasingly you're seeing these stings also losing their sting because they have an entrapment, there is an inducement, and then they have not even disclosed the full details of the investigation. I would like them to really point out, they say all these people have fallen for this particular offer. I think in the fitness of things, I'm not saying what they have done is wrong, but it will be honest on their part to say how many MPs have they actually attempted to entrap, and how many have really fallen for it.
You've asked many questions, but you haven't answered the basic question I asked you, GVL Narasimha Rao. Lalu Bhai Patel, Ravinder Kumar Pandey, Hari Maji, will your party act against these gentlemen or not?
The party, you see, I think first of all, if there is any criminality involved, the sting agency is free to go and seek some kind of investigation.
No, why should the sting agency seek an investigation? Is there no moral compass in the BJP, GVL Narasimha Rao?
The party will take certainly note of what has come out. The party will review it. It cannot happen on the basis of what this sting agency has done and put out in public domain. Let the party and the respective authorities in the party examine it, and if they find there is anything to substantiate the allegations, I think this party will certainly take note and take action.
Everybody wants to do an internal Lokpal. Nobody is prepared. Are you prepared, GVL, for an external investigation? Do you want the cops to sumoto lodge an investigation, lodge an FIR, begin an investigation on this?
It's not a question of any party wanting it. I think if there is any criminality, I think this will happen automatically, and it should happen.
Both the political leaders we've heard so far calling this instigative journalism. journalism, not investigative journalism. Prashant Bhushan from the Aam Aadmi Party is also joining us on this broadcast. Prashant Bhushan, do you agree with this charge that Cobrapost journalists were instigating, trapping the politicians, inviting them to write, and therefore it cannot be taken as seriously as an MP committing a crime himself? How do you respond to Ajay Alok and JVL Narasimha Rao, Mr. Bhushan?
Well, this issue was raised in Operation West End also, where you remember that first major Pahalka operation, where a large number of ministers of the government, the president of the then BJP, etc., were found to be accepting money from a fictitious firm, same kind of firm that Cobrapost in this particular thing used, to offer money for alleged defense contracts. This issue was raised that this.
No, so how do you respond to it? We know the issue was raised. How do you respond to what GVL and Ajay Alok are saying?
So the court decided that issue, and Mr. Bangaru Lakshman was convicted on that sting operation, even though it was the same kind of sting operation.
The stings, in the light of the stings carried out against them.
Yes, yes. In the light of the.
He should not be preaching without having to be accountable. No, please, obviously, you have to. You cannot look at the stings against you and where your candidates were shown. Where your candidates.
No, I'm sorry, JVL Narasimha Rao. This is not the opportunity to discuss the Aam Aadmi sting operation. That's been discussed at length when it came out. And also,
I won't let him take the high moral ground. He cannot take the high moral ground. He cannot be judged by different standards. He has to answer. He cannot take. Why? There cannot be one set of rules for.
But there is a big difference. There is a GVL Narasimha Rao. For heaven's sakes, there's a big difference.
What is the difference?
Even if the charges in that sting operation were true, there was only talk of possible transactions. Over here, MPs from your party have accepted cash to write letters for fake firms. How can there be a comparison, GVL Narasimha Rao? Why are you so rattled by the Aam Aadmi Party all of a sudden?
There is no difference. In terms of morality, there is equivalence. Legality is something else. Morality.
So the BJP is morally culpable. The only defense you have is the Aam Aadmi Party also. You claim is morally culpable. But I want to put a question to Mani Shankar Iyer. No politician should preach as far as I am concerned. Mr. Iyer, there are two MPs from the Congress party as well. Khilari Lal Bairwa and Vikram Bhai Arjan Bhai. One of these two is very close to a very, very senior Congress leader. Now, what action do you think should be taken? Will you take the same position as the BJP, raising questions about the motives of the people who've carried out the sting operation? Or do you believe the cops should lodge an FIR and begin a probe?
I think it is for the two MPs concerned to defend themselves. That is their right. But if they are found guilty, then they should certainly be punished, and the party must take the most serious note of the fact that apparently, allegedly, two of them have been taking money in order to raise issues either directly with the minister or in parliament. That is unacceptable.
But who will do this probe?
But to raise issues with ministers
attitude
is the
and
job
approach of GVL Narasimha Rao makes it very clear that they don't believe that they need to introspect. They, in fact, are trying to pull the Aam Aadmi Party into the same muck. But this is for each party to introspect the charges against their MPs.
I think there are a few issues here. One is that the larger thing about is our democracy for sale? Are we then going to see that when an MP is talking in parliament, is there a question mark raised? I mean, that we will always imagine, is there an agenda behind what the position he's taking? Is there an agenda behind the question he's asking? I mean, there are these questions which will come. I mean, the constituents will start demanding of the MP, are you really with us, or are you with some fake, I mean, some corporate entity? And just to answer some points that were raised earlier about entrapment, we don't do entrapment. Case law after case law has said that if you have prior information about the intention of those persons to commit a particular act, and then you go and sort of do them in that act, and you sort of say it is not entrapment at all. There's British law, American case law to that effect, and now Indian case law as well. case law which was created not only in Operation West End but also in Operation Duryodhan, which saw the High Court gave a sort of stinging sort of attack to the MPs and the parties who did it, and the Supreme Court sort of settled that issue.
Now, the immediate requirement is for the cops to lodge an FIR and for an investigation to begin.
It's like one, Duryodhan was something that an act took place in the House of the Parliament.
Yes.
So that is why the Speaker got involved. Here, the action, the letters they have written is outside the purview of the Parliament. I may be wrong, but that's the way that I see it. So it is the violation of the Corruption Act as far as I see it, and some FEMA violation. But on the larger picture, does the Parliament really want its image to be sullied in a way that parliamentarians are doing this and they don't want to step in?
We haven't seen much response from Parliament. Make no mistake, this is a story you'll be hearing a lot about over the next 48 hours. Parliamentarians need to respond. GVL Narasimha Rao trying to bring about a moral equivalence with the Aam Aadmi Party's sting operation is not something which flies, because you have to look at the specifics of each operation and analyze and assess whether or not those MPs, those leaders are guilty. Let's see if the cops come forward and take sumo to action as they've done in several other cases, or because these are MPs, they'll all sit back and say pehle aap, which seems to be the latest trend and latest fashion in Delhi. GVL Narasimha Rao, Mr. Manishankar Iyer, Ajay Alok and Anirudh Bahl, thank you very much for joining us.